And at one point, we had there was some sort of a research done, I don't know, and I had to appear in front of, they must have been physicians. They would take measurements of the head, of, I don't know, the whole body, to prove that the Jewish race was inferior in some ways, and they obviously did some methodical collecting of data. This was one thing. We were beginning to realize that then they would begin to take masses of people from the ghetto to Lublin, for instance, or Tarnów. There were small towns in Poland. Jews began to realize that this transferring of people from one place to another wasn't really transferring to another city, because many of these people never returned and never, there was no message from them. And while I was in the ghetto, they would come postcards, which between the lines would be written in Hebrew, words like, they were being translated that this is the end. They were shipping people to various camps to kill them. And one day I asked one of the Polish girls that were going through our room, they worked in the next room, if she would lend me her ID and I could walk with her. And she agreed that she would do that. I had to change my clothes because we had, by then they painted our clothes with yellow paint, sort of that we won't escape. Later on they had made those striped clothes. And I remember that one day she says, today I had to change my clothes, but there was this huge gate and there was a man with a big key, and there was this Jewish policeman standing on the gate. I waited in another doorway waiting for this man to go into the, he was escorting a truck with materials, and I walked out with him. Just as he was opening the gate and I was walking, I heard his voice right behind me. If he had seen me, recognized, he would kill me there, because it was his life against mine. He actually received 50 lashes for my escape, but all these girls, they were also responsible for it. We were marching like in 5. They agreed that if I have the opportunity, I should go. I was so terrorized that when I walked with this girl to maybe a block away, I wanted to go back. I just didn't know what to do with myself. And she prevented me from doing it. I have no idea who that person was. I had no idea about her name or anything. I wish I did. And I remember by the time I arrived in that camp, this was the most incredible sight. We were thrown in a barrack, and these women who frequently had 2 and 3 children, and they would be howling like, I remember one woman in particular who had a boy, maybe 4 years old, and she was one of those people who was always in a good humor. She would be singing in this factory where we were sewing, and I saw her there. She didn't have that boy anymore, and she was like a changed person. And I remember it was night, and they threw us in this barrack. They were like bare boards to lie down, and all that screaming and howling. I thought, this must be how it is in hell. And in the first few years in this country, when I saw a policeman, I was looking at my arm, if I had my band on, there were all these incredible fears, nightmares, terrible nightmares. This, in the course of the years, it improved actually, only occasionally. And every time I have these nightmares, it is, oh, why did I make my kids Jewish?
So,
this is my older son. Oh, that's the first time. Tony, and my younger son, Richard. Why I have tears in my eyes, because the message is that the survive is meaningful because I have a family, because they will carry on for the rest of the family who are not alive. I managed so far so good. And I'm extremely proud of my family, my 2 sons, and I have 2 grandchildren who I adore, and third one just any minute on the way. So that's a most one. I'm sorry that their father is not here to see the grandchildren. He would have been a wonderful grandfather. So I leave it to you, rest.